Good evening. I hereby announce that pursuant to Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in the notice which was sent to the Asbury Park Press, the Two River Times, and posted on the bulletin board in Township Hall, and filed in the Township Clerk's office on January 3rd, 2025. Mayor Foster?
Here.
Ms. LaMountain?
Here.
Mr. Impreviduto?
Here.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Here.
Mr. Romano?
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Wendy. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Okay, we'll get started with public comments on agenda items only. If anybody would like to speak, please just raise your hand and we will call you up. Come on up, Ron.
Good evening, Ron Emma, 32 Ladwood Drive. Just a quick one on the bills payable. I saw an item for an expenditure for one of the newest, not the newest, the second newest fire truck, 1878, and the bill was for like $16,000 for maintenance. Number one is, what is that for, and why isn't that covered under warranty or maintenance? Because 16 grand for a 2-year-old truck seems a little exorbitant. Thanks.
Thank you, Ron. Chris? All right, Ron, we'll have that for you next meeting for sure. Thank you. Any other public comments? Yes, please, come on up.
How you doing? I'm Danny Morris here. Just moved to the area. I'm on 76B Telegraph Hill Road. Just had questions. Saw some signs about affordable housing units and the plan of are we fighting them? Are they being built? And I guess where are they being built?
All right, Danny. Thank you for the question. We're actually going to have we had a Zoom call earlier today, so we'll have some details, I think, about what you're talking about. So we'll actually have some renderings and stuff as that process has been moving forward. It's been going on for about roughly 18 months or so, but we'll have some details for you later on in the meeting. All right, thank you. Any other public comments? Okay, seeing none, Wendy.
Next would be on the consent agenda, resolutions 2025-143 through 2025-151.
Can we get a motion?
Motion. Second.
Mr. Impreviduto?
Yes.
Ms. LaMountain?
Yes, but I'm going to abstain. I'm looking for the number. It's page 27 as it relates to an escrow for Stephen and Jennifer Rivera, but otherwise, I accept it.
Okay, duly noted. Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Romano?
Yes.
Mayor Foster?
Yes.
Okay. Resolutions 2025-143 through 2025-151 have been successfully passed. Next is hearings on ordinances. The first one is 2025-07, which is an ordinance of the Township of Homedale, Monmouth County, State of New Jersey, to exceed the 2025 municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank, NJSA 40A:4-45.14.
Do we have any public comments? Seeing none, Wendy.
The motion would be to adopt on final reading and publish in the Asbury Park Press according to law.
Can we get a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Mr. Impreviduto?
Yes.
Ms. LaMountain?
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Romano?
Yes.
Mayor Foster?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2025-07 has been successfully adopted. Thank you. Next is ordinance 2025-11, which is an ordinance authorizing acquisition by eminent domain of Papa's Farm, property of Block 29, Lots 4 and 4Q on the tax map of the Township of Homedale.
Any public comments? Come on up, Ralph. Get to you next, Pat.
Ralph Blumenthal, 41 Stony Brook Road. Question on the process here. And this is apparently going to be a different one than a couple of the other recent eminent domains. In that those other cases, you ended up having a friendly negotiation, reaching an agreement, and then when it came to this particular step, you said, hey, we're going to do it, and we'll put up the money that was agreed upon. Here, you don't have an agreed upon amount. The number in the resolution is, I think, 3.2 million, if I remember it correctly. But on the other hand, it was on the for sale market for 10 million. My casual understanding is that you take it, you got to post the 3.2, and then you fight it out in court over however many decades it takes. But suppose the court ends up saying it's 10 million. Is that an appropriate purchase for Homedale? How do you budget for that, and how do you handle it? What's the steps going forward here, and what might we expect?
All right, Ralph, I'm going to let our attorney address it, just because obviously you're asking about the legal process.
Yes.
Thanks, Mayor. So yes, if the reference is made to the Crawford Hill condemnation, that was done on a negotiated basis, and so the township filed with an agreed upon amount for the compensation with the property owner. In this instance, the township did make a good faith offer to acquire the property, but has not received a response from the property owner. Thus, the ordinance that's on for final adoption tonight would allow for a filing in Superior Court to condemn the property. The property owner will have the rights under the Eminent Domain Act, which include to contest the right to take as well as the compensation that's proposed for the taking. So, you know, he'll have those rights if he wishes to make those claims. Otherwise, the township would be asking the court to allow it to file a declaration of taking, which would allow it to acquire the property. The township would be responsible for whatever the court ultimately decides in terms of the valuation, which is how the eminent domain process works. But the township does, the price that the township's proposing to acquire it for is based upon a licensed real estate appraisal.
So if this starts the process, if the court at some point in time, whenever it is, comes up with a very high number, do you have to accept that number? Or does it become is there an option to say, well, at that price it's not worth it to us and we're going to step back? How binding is this?
The township can abandon the condemnation prior to filing a declaration of taking. To kind of give you an example, actually, Homedale used condemnation in the mid-2010s to acquire the property off of Middle Road to complete an affordable housing project. The township acquired title to that property before the amount was actually resolved by the court. So it's possible that the township would acquire the property and the court process would follow that to, you know, if there's a dispute with the owner over the valuation.
Okay, thank you for the answers.
And I think, counsel, in regard to the process, there's also a mediation step in there. Is that correct?
Yeah, so the first step is that the judge would hear the township's ability to take the property under eminent domain, provided the township is found to have that right. The court then submits the matter to a board of commissioners. There are 3 commissioners who would sit and consider it, and then either party, if they don't like the commissioner's decision, can appeal it back to court. And to the deputy mayor's point, at any point during that process, there's certainly the ability for the parties to mediate if there's any concern about trying to negotiate something.
Pat?
Patrick Triskita, 56 Line Road. Fully support going after the Pappas Farm for eminent domain. I read clearly the appraisal that was done, very professional, very accurate. I think the 3.2 million or thereabouts will stick, and it's a great opportunity for Homedale to get 48 acres in the northwest section of Homedale and make a great open park and with walking trails, and fully support using eminent domain. Question is, how fast will you file if successful tonight?
We're currently waiting on a title report to come back, which we need prior to completing the filing, but as soon as we have that, we could file fairly quickly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Any other comments on the ordinance? Seeing none, can we get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Impreviduto?
Yes.
Ms. Lamountton?
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Romano?
Yes.
Mayor Foster?
Yes.
Ordinance 2025-11 has been successfully passed. Thank you. Next for public hearing is Ordinance 2025-12, which is a salary ordinance for township officials and non-aligned employees.
Thank you, Wendy. Any public comments? Seeing none, can we get a motion?
Move. Second.
Mr. Impreviduto?
Yes.
Ms. Lamountton?
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Romano?
Yes.
Mayor Foster?
Yes.
Okay, and then the final ordinance for adoption this evening is Ordinance 2025-13, which is bond ordinance providing for improvements to the Senior Community Center and other municipal facilities by and in the Township of Homedale in the County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, appropriating $250,000 therefor and authorizing the issuance of 238,095 bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof.
Thank you, Wendy. Any public comments on this ordinance? These last two are boring ones. Can we get a motion, please?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Impreviduto?
Yes.
Ms. Lamountton?
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Romano?
Yes.
Mayor Foster?
Yes.
Ordinance 2025-13 has been successfully passed. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. Mr. CFO, would you like to take us away with number 9, please?
This is the public hearing on the 2025 municipal budget. The municipal budget constitutes the legal authorization to levy taxes and spend public funds. Municipal budgets control the financial operations and also reflect policy decisions of the governing body. Local government manages its operations by conforming to the revenue and appropriations in the budget for that year. The budgets are really a very important part. It's an integral part of the accounting system in the state of New Jersey. A lot of other entities have budgets that are not integrated. Ours is completely integrated into our daily operations. And that's for the current fund, the swim club utility, and also for the sewer utility. Sources of fund. What happened to that slide? This one. What happened to that one? Missed that one. The apportionment of your taxes. This comes up every year. In New Jersey, the local governments tax for all entities. I don't have this slide. It didn't show up in there. The tax rate last year was 1.576 in 2024. Of that amount, the town gets 15.86%. The county gets 13.45%. Our municipal open space gets 2.22%, with the majority of the taxes going to the school at 68.46%. Where do the funds come to support the budget? Fund balance. The fund balance in 2025 is $8,185,000, which is 20.28% of our budget. Local revenues, the majority of that, $4,450,000 is from the pilot. The local revenues constitute 17.36% of the budget. State aid, which basically has remained flat for at least 15 to 20 years, state aid right now is giving us 7.28% of the budget. Construction office, $850,000 is 2.79%. Other revenues which are basically shared service, are franchise taxes from Verizon, also from the cable company. That's 1.92%. Delinquent taxes, $530,000 is 1.74%. Delinquent taxes are for taxes from prior years that people have not paid on a timely basis. So we anticipate the 2024 delinquent taxes as a revenue in 2025. And the amount to be raised by taxes is the biggest part of the equation at 48.63%. of our anticipated revenues. And this chart basically explains that with the different percentages. As you can see on the left side is the amount to be raised by taxation, which is the biggest chunk of our revenue. Expenses. The budget this year went up by $1,907,000. The biggest increases you can see here on the left, and this has been everywhere in the state, the employee health benefits went up $219,000. Again, this has gone up the last couple of years close to 20%, and they're also talking for 2026 another 20% increase in our health benefits. Salaries and wages went up $878,000. This is mostly contractual, so we do have contracts out with the different unions. Our pension billing's up $283,000. This is another, been going up substantially every year. The state pension system's not in the best of shape. Capital Improvement Fund up $300,000. Other insurance premiums about $308,000. A lot of that's workers' comp, and also there's been a lot of increases due to cybersecurity, and the insurance companies are paying out for that, and we obviously have to pay for that. Recycling contract up to $82,000. Snow removals up by $196,760. Again, we want to have money available, in case we do get snow in the latter part of the year. And the other issues, we're also allowed to put that money aside into a trust fund in case we need it. A lot of that money is used to repair the vehicles, especially the vehicles that are using with the salt on the road, and they get destroyed very easily, and the repairs are extremely expensive. SLEO costs, we've been absorbing the cost for the security in the school. That's up by $103,000. Social Security up by $65,000. Information technology, $65,000. That's some of the increases in the software that we're using. Reserve for uncollected taxes, $43,000, and other miscellaneous accounts up by $93,000. And it's a decrease in debt service this year of $730,000, which gives us our net increase of $1,907,000. Estimated municipal tax on the average assessment of $1,032,698. We'll see an estimated decrease of $2.37 in your tax levy this year. So basically, your amount to be raised is going to be flat. Now, that could be a little bit, could vary depending on individual house because of the change in assessed value, which we know we have to revalue about 20% each year. So some will go up and some will go down. That's the presentation that we have.
Thank you, Bill. We actually have a resolution on tonight to carry to public hearing so that we have some additional time for our new administrator to review, but we're going to open up for any public comments if anybody would like to make.
Mayor, if I may, I do have one question, or one or two questions for Bill, if that's okay.
Absolutely. We'll start up here.
So Bill, first of all, I want to commend you on your masterful management of our debt, the amount of debt we ran up in the early 2020s and the amount that we're taking it down. So really job well done on that. In regards to the largest costs that are driving the budget increase, are any of them sort of one-time hits, or are they recurring? And I think of the IT expense as an example.
The IT is probably a one-time hit. But again, we really don't know there because some of these programs, they expire. And, as the software changes, they update it, and they will not, continue to upgrade the service, and we're forcing it a new one. You could see that with some of the Windows programs. They're now going to Windows 11, and some of the software is not compatible. So they're not going to, no longer support it, and they kind of force us to go out and buy something new.
I appreciate that. And I think just for context, I think it's, job well done keeping the tax rate flat. And to the point about assessed values of the homes, I think Homedale's assessed values have gone up about 32% since 2022, which is really a credit to how well the town's been doing, but also credit to this body, Mayor Foster, Deputy Mayor LaMountain, and Bill, of course, your stewardship on the fact that we're keeping the tax rate flat despite everything else that we're taking care of. So, well done.
Thank you, Rocco. Joe, did you have a comment? Deej?
Yeah, Bill, just one other question on the salary increases. I know they're contractual, right? We all know that. Is this year worse than any other years, or is this on the same trajectory as it's been? And do you foresee that like lessening or softening as we go further into the next, say, 5 years, or is it staying on that pace?
Usually levels out. It really depends on the turnover. Turnover, especially like in public works and the police, when the upper echelon, retire, then you'll get a couple of years, we may get a break. But that's,
to answer that, we do have 3 high officers who are pending retirement this year, so that should make a significant difference next year when we replace them. So it would be hopefully a really good change next year. So.
Anybody else on the dais? Jay, come on up.
Two things. I'm just curious, where are, and I'm not questioning what people are paid, but 18 Ladwood Drive, sorry, Holmdel. Sorry, yeah. It's been a busy day. My mom's in town. How do our salaries compare to other towns in Holmdel? Are we upper third, middle? Like, I'm just curious.
No, that's actually an excellent question, and that's something we always look at when it's whether our police or DPW. We want to make sure we don't lose our talent. Chris, I mean, you just came from another town. If you could just give us a little color on that, please.
So, when administrators negotiate contracts, and the one thing I do is I do a big, research project, and I go in and I look at what towns of similar size, similar demographic, and we compare those salaries when we work with the unions. So when the unions come in and say, well, we deserve this much money, I say, well, in comparison to somebody else, this is where you are, this is where we can get you to be. And Holmdel is very close to towns similar to it. I came from a smaller town, and negotiating their contracts right away, they're looking for, well, I want to be like, a small town wants to be like Wall Township, Wall Township being one of the higher paid police departments, or DPWs or whatever. And you can't compare a small town to that, but when you're comparing apples and apples, we're very our comparison is pretty close on all of it. So we do make sure of that, and it's a tough balance sometimes. You have to look at, because there's a lot of gimmicks, that are put into some contracts. I personally avoid those, and we try to be as straight up as possible. So.
Okay, thanks. The other thing is, it's sort of the elephant in the room in the budget, both here and at the school, is healthcare. And so here we go again, another 20. So, Bill, maybe like, what are they pointing to 20% increase, another 20%? Because, we're all active using healthcare. We're not getting, and we know there's inflation, but we're not getting 20% more. So what are they saying, if is driving these incessant mega increases?
the increases, we're in the state health benefits program, and a lot of the towns that have a much better experience, rating are leaving the system. We are looking at ways, as other towns are, to negate a lot of that.
So you're saying healthier cohorts are leaving? Is
yes,
that what's going on?
They are, yes. And it really depends on your experience rating.
Yeah.
And, a lot of them have left because of those increases. They had 2 years in a row of close to 20%. And, if your experience rating's like 0.8, well, you're going to exit stage left as soon as you can.
Yeah.
Which leaves everybody else, picking up the pieces. And, we are looking at different avenues. In other towns, there are different things that we're looking at to hopefully negate a big chunk of this increase.
So other towns collectively are looking at, like, would we consider coming off or no?
Depends on our experience rating.
Got it.
That's the downfall of leaving. If your experience rating's too high, it's very difficult to go out and get a on your own, basically, or even go through an insurance fund just for a health insurance fund.
Hey, Chris, you want to mention, not too deeply, but obviously we had recent calls with this as we're looking into the things. If you want to touch on that, please.
So again, when we talk experience rating, our experience rating is not good right now. Okay. Basically, it's over 100%. So what we're paying,
meaning the rates, we're spending more than our rates.
We're paying way more than our rates are.
Okay.
So nobody's going to touch us.
Got it.
We went out. We're marketing right now to try to see if there's anything better out there.
Okay.
We're not going to be picked up.
Okay.
Excuse
me, you mean the municipality,
not the
school.
Not the
totally
school. We have no control what they do.
Okay.
When I was in Shrewsbury, I brought in a program called the Difference Card. We're looking at that all right? And that's something that is a savings. It's a voluntary savings that each employee can get into. When we get more information on it, we're going to offer it up, hopefully, is with the committee's approval, to the employees where we could save some money. The savings is on both sides. The employee will save money, so will the town. It's a voluntary program the state allows, basically moving somebody into a lower plan, but helping pick up some of their outside costs like co-pays and stuff like that. It would be a savings no matter what, and it's a year-to-year thing, because as we all know, the state of New Jersey likes to do certain things, and if it's working out too good, I have a feeling that it might not stick around for too long. But right now, it is working in a lot of towns, a lot of counties. So I'm hoping to have more information on that for our committee to research and look into shortly, hopefully to save us for the 26 budget. So.
I do have one town that's using it. This is their first year, and the employees are very happy, and we're saving a ton of money.
With what? What was the first?
With the difference card.
With the difference.
Yes.
Okay. All right, thanks. It's pretty sobering.
It's
Yeah,
almost
yeah,
like
it absolutely is. And you
20.
touched on the Board of Ed, and then you have that calculation of
Yeah.
2% in place. Like, it's just not theoretically possible that
Yeah.
salaries and benefits aren't going to go up by more than 2%.
Yeah.
So it's a losing battle in the long run, but we appreciate your comments as always.
Okay, thanks.
Come on up, Ron.
Ron Emma, 32 Ladwood Drive. While we're on the subject of salaries, you mentioned the salaries were contractual. At the risk of getting pulled over every time I drive down Homedale Road, the police chief is here. I saw his salary, saw your salary bill. Is that, if you decide to stay, or the chief decides to stay for 20 years, is there a cap on the chief financial officer's position? Or if you stay here for 25 more years, does that just go up contractually by X amount? And the chief is worth every penny, I might add, but is the police chief, is that capped?
No, there is no cap. There is some restriction on the CFO, the clerk, and the tax collector, and the assessor all have to have the same percentage raise. So if
So you mentioned that we had a couple of high-earning employees going to be retiring, so that lessens it. But that position will get hired at a lower rate, but if they're here for 25 years, they're going to get the same raise, and there's no cap on it. So potentially, you could make whatever every year with no cap.
yes.
Okay, thank you. Second point, I did not see anything in your presentation about the $600,000 that the township is giving to the Board of Ed. And you mentioned 65 cents of every tax dollar is going to the BOE, and only 15% comes to the town. So is that $600,000 in this year's budget?
That's going to be a capital ordinance, which will be adopted probably sometime this summer. The items that we're helping the school out with are capital in nature, so it'll be done by an ordinance, and that'll be paid down over a period of time.
And that, did you say it's going to be bonded?
Yes.
Okay.
They're capital items that we're dealing with capital items, so they will be an ordinance, and it will be bonded.
Okay. And one last thing, I didn't go over it with a fine-tooth comb, but since we made the switch to the county-provided first aid system, I've been asking for years about at least a study on a partially paid fire department. I don't see any money in there advancing that request. Could you just update me on whether that's still an option? Is it in the works? Or because the argument against, the argument used to be we have the greatest volunteers in the world both on the fire department and on the first aid squad, but we just cut the EMS squad to 50% of what they were as far as the number of calls that they're going to handle. So that argument goes out 50%. They're 7 to 7. We're paying for the
You're way off base, Ron. They're answering more than 50% of the calls. You're wrong. You're wrong. But continue, please.
Well, I thought
we'll have the numbers for you for the next meeting, but you're wrong. It's 7 to 7. You're correct, but they're also staffed when they have a crew. During those hours, MedStar is not answering when we have a crew. But please continue. But we will have all the numbers for you next meeting, Ron. So we will show you the exact numbers.
I'm not trying to argue with it. I'm just asking if we're being staffed by MedStar from 7 to 7, right? That leaves the EMS squad
We are
from 7 p.m.
staffed.
to
We
7.
are staffed by MedStar from 7 to 7
Right.
when we do not have a duty crew. That is the only time we are staffed by MedStar.
So at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, if we have a crew, then our volunteers are
You
handling
got that 100% correct now.
it. So I do apologize because I thought it was 7 to 7 every day, all day.
Yeah. No, this was made clear when we discussed it back a couple months ago, but I understand there's a lot of moving parts. But continue, please, about the fire so we can
Just
answer
the fire,
that question.
The fire study. Is there any
So,
traction on that?
At the moment, I know Mr. Lucarelli spoke about that not too long ago. I think it was the very beginning of the year. We spoke with, is it Captain DRC, Chief? I don't want to get the wrong, not Captain, excuse me, with Dave DRC, who is part of our fire. And at the moment, they've been out doing excellent and outstanding, and we just didn't see the need. Is it something that we are completely saying no and it's done? No, but we've added several members, as you've seen. I think we're adding another one tonight. And that group is doing excellent, as well as the EMS group, I'll add, has added, I think, another 5 to 7 members as well, have a bunch of them in EMT school, and have been answering more calls since we've actually moved to the MedStar supplemental coverage, I'll call it.
So are you saying you don't see a need, so it's dead?
I said the exact opposite. I said we're not saying it's dead, but at the moment we've been handling and covering all of our calls, and we feel we're in an excellent spot. Chief Fernando has done a great job along with his team. I don't want to discount anybody else with recruiting new young members, and they're doing extremely well.
And just for clarification, it wasn't our decision to say we don't need it. It was in discussion with the leadership within public safety, Chief Fernando and others, that said, we're actually really good here. Recruitment's up. Things are responding well. It's not something we should be, we need to be pursuing at this moment.
Yeah, exactly. So just to clarify, again, it was through conversations. They feel strongly that there is no need for a paid fire department. The last we left it was that they would look at other types of incentives to continue trying to incentivize the current, the staff that we have, which is very, very good. They're flush with volunteers, and they're in a good position. And I think collectively we feel like the town is being protected and provided for efficiently. So again, it's never dead. It's just that we don't. There seems to be no one. I don't want to say besides you, but like there's no. I'm not being a wise guy. It's just there's no one from the committee, from the command staff of the police or the fire services that feel that there is a need. If they did feel like there was a need, they would more than comfortably ask us for help or for things, but we feel like we're in a very good position.
And I don't want to get even further ahead of ourselves, but one of the other things that's happening with the development, which we're going to touch on a little bit later, is that we're getting back several acres to open up a first response EMS and fire facility down in South Homedale as well. So another huge benefit there. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
And Mayor, if I could, Ron, there's a quick update on the expenses. I got an update from Chief Fernando. So 1878?
Yeah.
That's actually the oldest truck in the fleet. It's over 20 years old. It's out of warranty.
Okay.
And that was steering. There was issues with the steering box, so they had to replace quite a bit of parts on that. That truck is still in service, and that is the next truck due to get replaced. But it's still in service, and this was an emergency repair. It had to get done, otherwise the truck couldn't be used.
Thank you very much.
You're
That was
welcome.
quick. Thank you.
Thank you, Deej. Thank you, Chief Fernando. Thank you for your comments here, Rocco. Jenny.
Jenny Blumenthal, 41 Stony Brook Road. I just had a follow-up question for Chris. You mentioned that one of our problems with the health insurance is that something about 100%. Did that mean that we are spending more than 100% of the premiums that we're paying because our people need their services more, and so therefore it's we're a money-losing operation for the health insurance people? That's why they don't want to
Exactly.
deal with us much.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, so we're spending a certain amount of money on it. It's over that 100% mark.
Okay, so you better just tell everybody to
stay healthy, right? Stay healthy.
Weight,
Yeah,
and,
it's
not get sick.
it's unfortunate, that's the way it is, but that's not uncommon anywhere, right? What's
We're
uncommon
all
is
getting older.
yeah, right. And what's I think uncommon is mostly is if it's the opposite. If they're in the 80% range, that's why those people are they're very lucky that they can do that. But here in most towns you can't. So, and what happened is all the ones who have that are leaving the state health benefits to get lower rates and kind of leaving all of us to fend for ourselves. So,
Good luck.
thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. Any other comments on the budget stuff? Is it budget, Ralph? Come on up, sir.
Ralph Blumenthal, 41 Stony Brook Road. Two different things. First, referring to Bill, some of the comments that you made earlier, I just want to make sure I fully understand it. You indicated the tax rate's going to be flat, meaning the rate that appears on the bill?
No, not the tax rate, the amount to be raised by taxation. The tax rate is going to drop because the assessed value went up. So the amount to be raised for the whole town is going to stay the same. But the rate will drop because our assessed values went up.
So on the typical median house, since the assessments have went up by on the order of 10% this year, was the tax rate going to go down comparably so that the typical tax bill a resident will receive will be about the same? Is it going up or is it going down?
It's going down about, that slide up there, about $2.37 on the average household. That'll be the,
But on the amounts we're talking about, that's a drop. You can't even see it.
yeah, but that's what, it basically, the amount to be raised is staying the same. So the amount that we're raising over the whole town is going to be the exact same as last year. But when you add in some new added assessments, it's like a $2.37 decrease.
Okay, good. Thank you. And the second item is with regard to the capital budget. This is at the tail end of that whole package. And I understand that in adopting this right now, you're not making those commitments because that comes via a separate ordinance.
That's correct.
Nevertheless, I looked at some of the numbers in it and I was a little bit surprised in that there seems to be an awful lot of, not just this year, but it's a 5-year or 6-year plan, expectation of significant capital outlays over the upcoming years. My recollection, and I don't have the numbers here, but over the past several years, the typical capital plan for the town for a year has been $2.5 million. A lot of that's the road program and the like. Here I'm seeing numbers that are $5 and $8 million per year for the capital program, a significant increase. Some of it relates to land acquisition, but other of it was like repairs to this building and over 2 years of a couple $1 million. There's a lot of numbers with a lot of millions in them. Could you comment on that, or whoever would like to comment?
Absolutely.
I mean, it is a plan. Again, we require it to have a 6-year capital plan, and these are the things that the various departments have requested and stuff that's needed, you know, and then it's up to the governing body whether or not they wish to continue with it. I mean,
Because it's not a current expenditure, it's part of the capital, but eventually the bonds that are floated to pay for it will come back to haunt, and one will have to pay off the debt service.
yes. And again, it's, you know, it is a plan. There's nothing set in stone. I mean, a lot of towns have a lot of things that they want, things that they need, and when it comes to reality, they will do what needs to be done.
So the impression I'm gathering is that there's a lot of capital needs and a projection of significant increasing budgets to cover those expenses.
If they choose to do those projects, there probably will be.
Thank you for your responses.
Absolutely, Ralph. Thank you. Anything else? Come on up, Pat.
Patrick Trisquita, 56 Line Road. Want to comment on the budget. I reviewed everything that Bill put out and different parts of the committee. The budget is very sound, very practical. You know, here in Homedale, we have 17,000 people living in $6 billion worth of real estate. Okay, we have a budget and a town where open space, we're continually adding to open space. We're supporting our first aid and our fire department, which are all volunteers, and I think doing a fantastic job. We're supporting them. LoSAC is in the budget. I think we're doing real well. One of the things I want to mention that the Bell Labs pilot delivered $7.5 million in revenue last year, and I think it's going to deliver over $8 million this year. It has an award-winning severance series that's done at the building. So I think the budget is very well and sound, and we live, we're not overtaxed, and we don't have a lot of debt. This discussion about short-term, long-term, medium-term debt sounds ludicrous to me. We're by no means is Homedale in debt, and we use our finances and bond issues to use the best way you use our capital. So just say that I think it's run very well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pat. I think Ralph's trying to turn that into a cameo appearance on the show, so he appreciates the plug. Any other comments on the budget? All right, seeing none. Wendy, I guess we're moving along to our departments. Michael, do you have a comment?
Actually, Mayor, so as we alluded earlier, the intent tonight of the Township Committee is to continue the budget hearing to the rescheduled June meeting. And so there's Resolution 2025-152, which will allow for that.
Thank you. Can we get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Impreviduto?
Yes.
Ms. LaMountain?
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Romano?
Yes.
Mayor Foster?
Yes.
Resolution 2025-152 has been successfully passed. Thank you.
Okay, now we can move along to departments. Chris, would you like to start us off? Do you have anything?
That I'm getting really into it now, and a lot of stuff's getting done. I thank you. Oh, yeah, I got.
Well, appreciate it, Chris. We're happy to have you here, and I know we had you on the phone all day today with a bunch of different things, so appreciate all your time. Bill, do you have anything else you want to add? You've had a lot of mic time tonight.
Yeah, I'll add one more thing. We're speaking about the debt service. What we're allowed to borrow is $189,868,000, but we only have borrowed out there $40,712,000. So we can borrow close to additional $149 million if we desire.
Sounds very prudent, Bill. Thank you. Ed, you have anything for us?
Nothing of significance, Mayor. We just continue to work diligently on advancing various initiatives and construction projects and things. It's been a pleasure getting to know Chris a little bit, and he's very decisive. I think it's going to be a good fit, so thank you.
Appreciate those comments, Ed. Michael?
No update, Mayor. Happy to answer any questions.
Excellent. All right, we'll start with the committee. DJ, you want to kick us off?
Sure, thank you, Mayor. So, Bill, just to throw something back at you, are there towns out there, and especially in our state, that are leveraged out like that? And
Yeah, there are some towns. I know one particular in Mercer County that's over. We have a limit of 3.5% of our average equalized value, and one town I know particularly is like at 1.25. So every time they have a bond ordinance, they do have to go before local finance board to get approval. So.
But I think, again, to what Mr. Cressida said and what we've already known for years, that we're in a very good position financially, even with the debt that we have, and then with our rating and everything like that. So, again, thank you. Great job on the budget, Bill. And then, Mayor, just my reports. For the Recreation Department, the swim club is open for the season. It actually opened this past weekend, but we did have some unseasonably cool weather, and attendance was very low. And memberships are still available for the season, so for more information, please reach out to the Recreation Office. Spots also are still open for the following programs. The summer programs, archery, there's pickleball classes, student chess tournament that we have coming up. You can, again, check with our Recreation Facebook page or the Recreation Department for more information there. Registration is also still open and space is available for the summer, just repeating myself here, recreation program, which takes place at Cross Farm Park from June 23rd to August 1st. For more information, contact the Recreation Department. And that is all I have for you this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, DJ. Joseph?
Thank you, Mayor. Starting with the Homedale Library, on June 1st, the summer reading program begins. Parents can visit the library's website at monmouthcountylib.beanstack.org to create an account and track your books. If you already created an account last summer, you do not need to create another one. You cannot begin tracking until June 1st. Children's, teens, and adults will be eligible for rewards and other incentives based on meeting their reading goals. For families who are going screen-free for the summer, you can track your summer reading on paper by filling out a form that's available at the Homedale Library front desk. We have some upcoming library programs for kids. There will be a variety of wonderful children's programs throughout the summer to keep your kids busy during their summer break. Visit the Homedale Library's website for a full schedule of events. Ella, the therapy dog, will be returning to the library on June 16th from 4 to 5 p.m. for the always popular Read to a Dog program. Children grades K and up are welcome along with a parent and a caregiver. We just finished setting up an art display at the library. There's currently a large exhibition of glass artwork by local artist Terry Lee Harmon Slade on display throughout the Homedale Library. And we want to give a special thanks to Sean Brady from the Rec Department for assisting the library staff with setting up the art display. From the Board of Ed, Homedale High School to host a summer AI program. For the second consecutive year, Homedale High School is offering an in-person, pre-college, project-based artificial intelligence program through InSpirit AI, an AI education program developed and taught by Stanford and MIT graduates this summer. The Mathematics League scored big. Indian Hill High School achieved an impressive 7th place finish out of 80 participating schools in the 6th grade New Jersey Mathematics League contest for the 2024-2025 academic year. This outstanding performance earned Indian Hill the distinction of being the top performing 6th grade school in Monmouth County. These results reflect the exceptional talent, hard work, and dedication of both students and educators at Indian Hill School and underscore the school's continued commitment to excellence in mathematics education. Homedale Esports won back-to-back state titles in their first 2 years of existence. On Saturday, the Homedale High School esports team made history once again by winning the Group 3 state finals, defeating defending champion Barnegat High School in a decisive 2-0 victory. This marks Homedale's second consecutive state championship, an extraordinary feat considering the program has only been in existence for 2 years. With back-to-back state titles in their first 2 seasons, Homedale Esports is rapidly establishing itself as a force to be reckoned with across New Jersey and has solidified Homedale's reputation as a premier esports program in the state. From the Veterans Committee, the next Veterans and Coffee Conversations will be held this Thursday, May 29th at 10:30 at the Senior Community Center. All veterans and Gold Star family members are invited to attend this informal get-together and enjoy coffee, bagels, and donuts. That's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Joe, and I'm loving the fresh cut. Rocco?
I think he's trying to look like you. From the Homedale Fire Department, the fire department was lucky enough to obtain a piece of steel from the World Trade Center from 9/11. We have begun construction of a small monument to showcase the steel on the front lawn of Crawford's Corner Road Fire Station. To help offset the cost, we will be selling custom engraved pavers. Our goal is to complete the project and have a dedication ceremony on or about 9/11/2025. More details to follow. 3 of our members will be graduating from the Monmouth County Fire Academy on June 9th. There are 4 more members who are currently attending other academies and should graduate in July. The fire department recently visited Homedale High School to try and recruit new cadets. Any young people at least 14 years of age and graduated the 8th grade are welcome to join. The fire department recently had a couple of incidents involving unattended fire pits that spread to surrounding property. Please never leave a fire pit unattended. From the Homedale Police Department, our Goal Zero program for Homedale officers. The next Goal Zero high visibility countywide enforcement detail is scheduled for Thursday, May 29th, 2025 from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Roadways leading to the Jersey Shore will be the focus of this month's detail, and the Homedale Police Department will be focused on Highway 34. Plan alternate route. Homedale Police Department reminds all residents to start planning an alternate route for travel if you use Crawford's Corner Road. The widening project is scheduled to start the day after high school graduation. We will have additional information on the road closure once we get closer to graduation day. This is the project that we've talked about now for quite some time, and appreciate our friends at T&M hustling to get that moving, and you, Mayor, as well, of course. This past Thursday, May 22nd, the Police Department held its awards ceremony covering service accomplishments from years 2023 and 2024. There were 26 department members who received awards and 36 total awards given out. Awards are presented to officers either for a particular incident that they were involved with or for a department project they managed. Additionally, the department awarded several life-saving awards as well as awards recognition educational accomplishment. We are proud of all our officers and congratulate the recipients. From the First Aid Squad, last Thursday, the First Aid Squad responded to a car versus telephone pole collision on Bethany Road. The squad responded immediately from our Crawford's Corner headquarters and transported the driver, who thankfully had only minor injuries. First Aid Squad reminds all residents to wear a seatbelt at all times when operating a moving vehicle and to drive with caution, especially on days with inclement weather. And from the Department of Public Works, brush collection begins again on June 2nd. Please be respectful of your neighbors and ensure that brush piles are not put out prior to the week of collection for your section, that piles are not placed in the roadway, and that piles are needed and are neat and orderly. Please refer to the yellow brush leaf schedule card that was sent to your home for information on maximum size of limbs and piles. A reminder that the most expedient way to have a street light repaired is by reporting the outage directly to JCP&L. Prior to calling or reporting via JCP&L website, make sure to check the street light pole for the pole number, as that will enable the company to respond more efficiently to your neighborhood. That is all I have, Mayor.
Great update, Rocco. Thank you so much. Chief, that was a dynamite award ceremony. That was great to see. Yeah, please, come on up.
If I may, it means so much to these officers to be recognized for some of the great work that they do and some of the stressful situations and all that they were involved in. And it's a really big ceremony, a big night for them. But I want to thank you, the Deputy Mayor, the committee, and the Administrator for being there at our ceremony. It's means so much to them to know that they have your back and your total support. I appreciate it, and I thank you.
Chief, that's our team, man. They're doing great work, and some of the things you brought up, kind of blow your mind when you think about those things that are happening here in town. So they all deserve to be recognized, so thank you. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. From the Homedale Green Team, they continue to work on community energy planning with the CEP team. The team is reviewing the draft of the environmental resources inventory and will provide their comments by May 30th. The Green Team updated and resubmitted round 2 of our Sustainable Jersey certification application with requested changes, including a visual flyer of acceptable and non-acceptable curbside recycling materials. The flyer, entitled "What Can I Recycle Curbside?" was developed with the assistance of Rachel Tarantel of Department of Public Works and is now posted on the Township Recycling page. The Green Team thanks Rachel for her assistance in creating this required document. The next public meeting of the Green Team will be on Monday, June 2nd. All members of the public are invited to attend. Our Homedale Heritage Committee has a display at the Homedale Library celebrating the Asian Heritage Month. The Homedale Indian Association is currently displaying the cultures of India from May 22nd to May 31st. There will be a Greek festival display there following, and the 2025 annual Bayshore Greek Festival will start on June 5th and run through June 8th. It will be rain or shine. You can visit www.greekfestivalhomedale.com for its schedule, and in June there will be a group of families that will be from the Homedale Greek community that will be presenting the display at the Homedale Library. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Kim. Okay, a couple of updates. So yesterday, myself and the Township Committee were present at a ceremony in front of Town Hall to honor all those individuals who gave their lives in service to our country. I'm grateful to Deacon Tom and all the civic and youth groups who joined us and presented wreaths. I want to emphasize that the Township Committee is unwavering in its commitment to supporting our veterans and Gold Star families. We understand the profound sacrifices they have made for our nation and our community. We host regular veterans events and meetings, to the annual Veteran of the Year Award, to providing dedicated courtesy parking at Town Hall. We strive to show our gratitude in tangible ways. Veteran residents, please know that we are listening to your voices and continuously identifying new ways to serve your needs. We are proud to honor those who have served, as well as their families, ensuring Homedale remains a community that truly cares for its heroes. I would also like to add, I was remiss yesterday in that I failed to mention a thank you to our rec department and our DPW staff who come out to all these events and set everything up. We have dynamite people in both, so please accept my apologies. Just a beautiful day and everything going on. We had a great turnout, so my apologies again. Last week, Deputy Mayor LaMountain and myself cut the ribbon on a new blood donation center in Homedale. The center is run by the New Jersey Blood Services and is their first location in Monmouth County. Nearly 25% of trauma patients require a blood transfusion. Please consider doing your part to save a life by becoming a blood donor, whether at this site or any other. I could say that when Kim and I donated on Friday morning, we were in and out of there within 15 minutes. It was incredibly fast, a lot faster than the last time I gave blood. The facility is beautiful. The staff is outstanding. I encourage anybody. One of the things I wasn't aware of is that apparently only 62% of society is able to donate blood, but only 3% do. So hoping to encourage some of our staff member here in town to go over and donate now that it's so close and it happens so quickly. You're able to get in and out, as I said. A couple other items. For those who are not already aware, starting this year, seniors can apply for 3 tax relief programs using the exact same application. That is the Anchor Program, Senior Freeze, and Stay NJ. The Deputy Mayor and I were pleased to be able to discuss these programs and the application process at the Homedale Half Century Club meeting last month. Eligible seniors should receive a blue application booklet in the mail. If you have not, please reach out to us here at the Township. There is an important correction regarding this senior property tax relief application. For information about this correction, you can visit the main page of the Homedale Township website. And then what Dan asked for earlier, Bill, if you would assist, can you pull up the renderings on the monitors here, just so we can kind of touch on the gentleman's question from earlier in the meeting? And I think this is kind of what you were asking about, and if it's not, please come back up and we'll be happy to answer. But we'll just kind of go through what we have here.
Mayor, yeah, I was curious. I work for the Housing Authority in New York City, so I deal with affordable housing, and you moved to Homedale. I was just curious about what exactly was going on with that. And I see signs posted around town, and I wanted to see
Sure.
primarily where it would potentially be built and just the general idea. And once again, Danny Morrissey, 76B Telegraph Hill Road. Hearing you guys talk, I feel I've only been here 3 months. I'm very ignorant. You guys are privy to budgets and A, B, and C that goes on here. So I appreciate learning and listening from you guys. And it is a beautiful, beautiful town, and I'm glad to be a part of it. So I'm just kind of making my way here. I did deal with the police staff this week, as Chief would know. I had some people living behind me pretty far away that were kind of blasting music, and I felt like a real Karen. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like the Homedale #1 Karen. I've been here 3 months. Right? But I got a pregnant wife, I got 2 young kids, and I got music shaking my house. I'm like, first night I was like, all right, Then it was the second night, then it was the third night, and I'm like, I'm not living like this. I didn't move to Homedale to live like I'm outside Yankee State.
I'm sure our team got over there pretty quick.
Every cop was a gentleman, and they actually took care of the issue for me. And I'll tell you one thing, that wouldn't happen probably in New York City, because they have a lot bigger issues to kind of address than if I call about a noise complaint. They're dealing with all sorts of stuff. So the fact that it was addressed so rapidly was just a testament of how great this town was. It is. But just to get back to the point with the affordable housing,
Sure.
Just because I work with it, and you're kind of just curious, this whole, and not just for Homedale, kind of the state as a whole, as we're going to affordable housing mandates, even you hear about it in Colts Neck, and since I live here, I was curious to know kind of a general plan or blueprint for what's going on.
Absolutely, Dan. So we'll give you a real two-minute, in a nutshell. So I think what you're seeing the signs about town is there's a development over at the Vonage property where we will actually be having several affordable units. It is the fourth round of the Trenton mandated housing. Homedale's complied with the first 3 rounds, and we intend to comply with the 4th round, and we're working on our plan, which will be submitted by June 30th. We have a really excellent feel on that right now. We've been working very hard on it. Deputy Mayor LaMountain's been really at the forefront of that. The signs that are out in the property you're questioning is the Vonage development on 520, where there will be an element of affordable housing in there. There will be some cottages added to the property. There will be a repurposing of a 350,000 square foot building there where units will also be in there. There will be a 7,000 square foot dedicated senior facility for Homedale use exclusively. They're giving us back approximately 5 acres of that property so that we could put a fire and an EMS hub. There will be walking trails. We have a couple renderings here. We're just going to show you to give you an idea of what it's going to look like. It's a group out of Bloomfield by the name of CHA. We had a Zoom call with them earlier. So, Bill, if you could just kind of flip through the renderings just to give people an idea of, I wish we had a picture of what the building is now and what it looks like. Danny, I'm sure you've seen it down there. It's awful. It's blighted. It's been that way for a long time. And you'll see what they intend to do with it here. So. Yeah, that's the rendering of what it's going to look like to kind of fit in with our Homedale feel. Yeah. Rock, you want to add?
Well, I was going to say, I think a couple other things I want to mention, because I think you're asking about affordable housing more broadly, too. So one, just to reiterate the mayor's point, this is a continuing care retirement community. So people will move in, they're in, could be in their 60s, they can live independently. As or if they become more infirm, they'll move to another phase of the facility up until sort of the continuum of life, so to speak. Of the units, we get we get credits for Medicare, was it Medicaid beds, Mike? I can never remember. We get credits for Medicaid beds that apply to that Trenton mandate. So that those are just sort of credits that come in, and there are some affordable units that will be dispersed within the complex itself. But it's not a low-income housing complex. I want to be very clear about that. This, as you can see, it's going to match the aesthetic of our town. We expect the homes to be quite expensive, actually, for the most part, especially the way these things sort of are growing and becoming more and more popular. So just for clarification, this is a continuing care retirement community to meet our obligation from the state of New Jersey. There will be some affordable dispersed in there, but it is not a dominantly affordable unit, affordable property, nor is it. It's barely. I mean, it's not it at all, quite frankly. So that said, it should also be noted that we sued the state of New Jersey last year over Trenton mandating housing. I think we're the first committee in 40 odd years to do that, actually. And Mayor Foster has taken it upon himself to take it even further, and we're going into federal court now, and his name's on that as the mayor, right, to continue our pressure against the state of New Jersey. To be responsible stewards of the township, Deputy Mayor LaMountain stepped up and has been working with our team, our attorneys, and our planners to negotiate the number down. So we're parallel pathing, right? So not only is the property that, for campaign purposes, people are trying to get people wound up about, not an affordable housing complex. We sued the state over their mandate, and simultaneously we're negotiated down, a wonderful job by our deputy mayor and the team, to negotiate the number down if we lose the lawsuit. So, we're fighting on all fronts and looking to really manage this as responsibly as we can. And I apologize if I got on a rant here, guys. I just want to make sure everyone understands the full context of the work.
Absolutely. I think Kim wanted to add something as well.
Yeah, so that everyone understands what the plan is for that area. As we mentioned, there'll be what I refer to as villas or townhomes, and from there will also be condos. And then the plan right now is for some apartments. There will be units within the building. So it's not as if the building is being repurposed, and there will be several different things going on there, but it's not as if the plan is to go in and build all these units outside of the building. It's not. The building is being utilized, and it's still in planning phases. nothing is affirmatively approved, so to speak. We're still working toward what exactly it's going to look like, what's going to be in there, how it's going to be accomplished. But it is something that is going to fit the character of Homedale. It's not something that's going to be inexpensive. It's going to partner up with us in satisfying our affordable housing, and we have no choice. If we don't work with the state on affordable housing, the state will take over. So although we're challenging it, we still need to work with the state. And if we don't have a plan finalized with the state, and I think we have to have our plan submitted by the end of June, time is not on our side. We are going to be at the risk of the state telling us what needs to happen, and I can promise it will be nothing like this. So there are several different things in motion, and we are handling it from all aspects. But to go back to this question of what apartments is being talked about, I mean, quite frankly, I don't know. I don't know for sure where those signs necessarily came from, but we can only assume it's talking about the Vonage property, because that's where we're talking about having something done. And that Vonage property has been sitting vacant now for about 4 years. So with that, the question, and we talked about it a lot here at our meetings, do we want to have some control over what happens at Vonage? Or do we want to risk sitting around waiting to see what happens, because that may not be something so great for Homedale? So that's kind of the big picture.
And unfortunately, what Kim is alluding to is unfortunately happening in some surrounding towns around us where they weren't too happy with the outcome. So we're trying to do the best we can. Hopefully we gave you some additional info. You can reach out to us at any time. We're going to move on to public comment. Ron, come on up, please.
Ron, I'm at 32 Ladwood Drive. I'm not making a political statement. I just have a procedural question. I'm a planning board member, and to my knowledge, the planning board has not approved. This is the first time I'm seeing these drawings. The planning board has not approved anything other than the need for redevelopment. Now, I know the TC can overrule whatever the planning board says, but and you just said by June 30th, you're going to sign off on this. What's June 30th? I mean, we don't even have another planning board meeting that this is going to be out.
Let me go to that, because I brought that up.
Yeah.
That has to do with our affordable housing and how we're going to satisfy our number.
Okay.
So, and as I indicated with this stuff, like I said, nothing is definitive.
We haven't even seen these plans, though. These are, those are definite plans.
Yeah.
This is under the redevelopment law, so just to clarify for everyone in the public, the governing body is the redevelopment agency for the township. Under the redevelopment agreement that was approved a couple of months ago, the redeveloper needs to formally submit their plans to the Township Committee for the committee to approve them to confirm that they meet the redevelopment agreement requirements. That then authorizes them to apply to the planning board.
So that's what that is.
Correct.
Okay.
So we've had
Which I mentioned very early in the meeting.
So
I just wanted, because it's not on our agenda. That's why I'm asking.
Of course. So
Totally fine. I
we've
get
had
it.
a very preliminary conversation with them, and they showed us some renderings, and we thought it made sense to share those with the
Perfect.
public as
I just
soon
had
as we
it's
could
not
for
a political
purposes of
statement. I know that.
transparency.
I know something has to be done there. I'm just. it's
Ron,
not
we
on the-
appreciate your service on the planning board. I served on there with you, and
Thank you.
yeah, obviously you have a purpose and a role, and we appreciate that.
Thank
I mean, this was brought up, the question was raised, the signs are out, right? Here we are. And this has been going on for 18 months, so we're trying to be as transparent as we've been since the group of us have been up here together. I appreciate the comments as always. Ralph, hold on. Jay raised his hand first. I'm sorry, you didn't let me finish.
So, Jay, Yanello, 18 Ladwood Drive. Mr. Impreveduto, I was on the committee for Vonage, and there's several of us showed an interest in having input on these. So I would hope we're going to have a chance. I know this is just quick renderings. Big, dark, unpainted windows don't really match the character of that part of town. So I would really have some hesitations with many aspects of this. I just wanted that to be thrown down right now. I mean, I wasn't the only one. And then I mentioned to you earlier in the week, and a lot of people are really disturbed with the new telephone poles being put up in front of Casola Farms. And again, with my utility background, it looks like they may be technically transmission. I don't know if they're not. If they are, they're considered rate-based items, which the utility can make a tremendous amount on versus spending money replacing their poles, which come out of their bottom line. So what is going on with these poles? They're absurd looking. They're really, I mean, they're permanently damaging the look of Homedale for 100 years or more. And how far in are we going with these? So what is going on?
So we did reach out and appreciate the questions as always, Jay. Obviously, we're coming off that loss, right, with that lawsuit that dragged on for years with utilities. Chris, can you just touch on this briefly? I know we discussed and we reached out to JCP and all. If you just give us a little color, please.
Well, okay. These are, so they're trying to make the system, back the system up, and they're correcting some of the old lines. It's not a transmission line.
It's not technically considered transmission.
No. And
they sure look it.
Because they're larger poles.
Yeah.
They're carrying everything through the Fano power station in Matawan. Now they're going to come back, and I'm going to ask the chief to step up behind you right now, because the chief
Without
actually
shooting
took
me.
this meeting for me, right? Because he actually knows exactly where they're all going. Because he was in the meeting. I had another meeting at the same time, so I couldn't make that meeting. And the chief can actually tell you what they're doing and where they're going.
So just before we get to the chief, you said are they making a redundant thing to Matawan? Is that what's going on?
They're making it
And
so
maybe
if
he'll
something goes down, they have a resiliency plan behind it, so therefore it doesn't fail.
But and I get it, but this is at great cost. And I can't overemphasize, this is permanently impairing the look of the town wherever these go. So we all love our electricity. I get it, but this almost reminds me of the Monster Power Lines thing, where we need to have this new transmission line, and at the end of the day, we really didn't need it. But Chief, I'll wait to you.
And Jay, while the chief's coming up, the mayor and I have discussed, we are going to pull the ad hoc committee together to talk about aesthetics and make sure that there's a view there from the folks that were involved.
First stage that they're working on right now on 34 is going from 34 up to Matawan. When they complete getting to that power plant up in Matawan, and they're going to come back and continue to work here in Homedale. It's going to go down Roberts Road to Long Street to Crawford's Corner to South Holland, up South Holland, Holland Road, Laurel Avenue to the power station by the train tracks on Laurel.
Yeah, Jay, we pretty much feel the same way you do. It's unfortunate. We're reaching out. We're trying to see what we could do, but
And okay, respectfully, because I know you guys have a lot to do. I mean, are you saying we had no input on this? Is that what you're saying?
that is 100% what I'm saying.
So they have a right. It's their right of way. Is technically
They have easements that go through every town. I mean, that's the BPU is super strong. I mean,
and when did they present to us this? Do you know?
I don't
know?
think it was ever presented to us. They started the work.
They came to us the week before they were starting. Then they told us this is what they've been approved to do by BPU.
Yeah, that's just mind-boggling. They've been approved by the BPU.
Oh yeah, they're approved by the BPU.
This is what. So this is replacing poles and things that would come out of their O&M, operating maintenance budget, and with locked 100-year return, fixed rate of return. I mean, guys, I'm just saying, this is going to be on your watch, this permanent impairment of the look of... You're laughing. Brian.
I am laughing, Jay, because there's nothing any of us up here could do about
I don't know.
this.
If that meeting, someone should have flagged and say, we have a problem with this. What do we do?
It wouldn't have mattered. They could have started the next week, and we could have done nothing about it.
We can't control. We can't control. Yes, you have.
This is a doozy. Okay. Let's see where it goes.
Ralph, come on up, please.
I think that we're not laughing, Jay. I think we were like waiting for this moment with you because we knew it was coming. That's why we're kind of smirking. Was like
somebody reached out to me and said, "I can't believe you're not complaining about these polls." I said, "Give me 4 hours."
We said the same thing the last couple meetings.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's unfortunate because we're seeing them go up and we know where they're going and there's nothing we can do about it.
Wow.
All right, Ralph, have at it.
Ralph Blumenthal, 41 Stony Brook Road. Just to follow up on Rocco's comments about JCP&L, and we haven't finished with JCP&L. You've been worrying about street lights. We have a street light on our street right in front of our house. It's been working fine. A month ago, we were on vacation for a few days. We came back and found a hole between that street light and the transformer. It's still there, and with an orange fence around it. I have to see some other utility guy, one of the mark-out people, and asked him what's up. He said they found that a lot of the streetlight problems are the wire that's underground and not the streetlight itself. So where they need to, they're replacing that wire. So they had in fact marked out on our grass, we said, why? What's going on? Somehow they determined, in our case, the distance between the transformer and the streetlight is this far. So they dig. Then what he told me was that they hire a contractor to replace the wire, and there's another street light maybe 100 yards down the street, and they dug in, apparently what happened while we weren't there, put in a wire from our transformer to that street light. But that's an independent contractor who only puts a wire in the ground. They don't hook it up. So a JCP&L crew has to come by to hook it up. And it's a different crew on a different schedule. In the meantime, we have a hole in front of our house by our street light where the wire in the hole is sitting and the transformer is 3 feet away from it and it hasn't been hooked up. And nobody knows what the schedule is because it's a different crew. And our street light has worked fine. So it's a crazy scheduling, and when, having a hole sit in front of your house doesn't make sense. Anyway, Kim, with regard to the affordable housing plan, and thanks for showing with the updated continuing progress with regard to Vonage. The Vonage from the numbers that were previously mentioned when you adopted the plan was that those units there are going to be on the order of half of Homedale's round 4 obligation. I think the reduced number was 106 and this is 48 or something like that. Can you say anything further about what other sites are you looking at, what other you're considering in order to meet the June 30th requirement to have a plan?
I think we're working on that. We have not come to a final conclusion as to how we're going to do that, but we're working on some different possibilities. I don't know if Mike, if there's anything you can add to that other than really, we're working.
Yeah, I
on
would just
ideas.
say, we can't really talk about it publicly because, we have an obligation to talk to the property owner if we're talking about their property, and we'd want to make sure that we're on the same page before that's revealed publicly. But I think the committee's committed to working to address the round 4 obligation in as minimally impactful a manner as possible. And as everyone's outlined, that's going to need to be adopted by the end of June. There's actually a planning board meeting scheduled for the last week of June at which the housing element fair share plan will have to be heard at a public hearing, and then the township committee is going to have to have a special meeting immediately following that to adopt it. So the state law really puts an unrealistic time frame on this, but Homedale, along with the other municipalities, are doing their part to work
I think the
along with
public
it.
would appreciate getting some heads-up input before you do a final adoption, so it's possible to get public input on what your thoughts are.
To your point, the law is written in a way where it really creates a time frame that's so unrealistic that we would love to spend months explaining to the public the process and having a more iterative arrangement. The number was just established like a month and a half ago. That's how they wrote the law, and that's part of the reason why this committee's challenging the law as well, because of the unreasonableness.
Thank you.
And Mike, I use the date of June 30th, but because I have that fixated in my mind. Is it like June? Is it June 27th or something, as opposed to June 30th? It's the end of June. I don't want to misspeak to everyone. I'm just fixated on June 30th.
The Deputy Mayor, the statutory deadline is June 30th. I believe the Planning Board is meeting on June 26th. And if that gets confirmed, the intent of the Township Committee is to have a special meeting on June 27th, which would be take the required action following the Planning Board and allow the special counsel to make the proper submission to the dispute resolution program by the 30th.
Thank you, guys. And Ralph, thank you for your comments. I mean, when Chief was acting as the administrator, he had Frank Luna on speed dial. Those guys are talking all the time, and we know very well what you're talking about with the problems with the wires in the ground. So we're staying on top of them. We're trying to move it forward, and that's really pretty much all we can do. Jenny, did you have a comment?
Jenny Blumenthal, 41 Stony Brook Road. Two quick questions. Where is this new blood place? I saw an ad in the Two River Times or something, and it said, gee, wow, this is wonderful, but couldn't figure out where it was.
Right next to Paris Baguette and Over Easy Kitchen on Route 35 North. Are you familiar to Marshall's Plaza over there?
Oh, near the ice cream place. And
Cold Stone is over there as well.
Cold Stone Creamery. Okay, you can tell what I'm more interested
Stop in, then you get ice cream afterwards.
If you get there soon, they may give you, if there's any left, some Girl Scout cookies when you're done.
Ooh. However, the problem is we're too old to give blood. They won't take it anymore. Besides, it's very healthy. And then second, logs in the gutter on Takalusa. Again, people have been putting their logs out in the gutter for the poor DPW. So some big sign needs to go up someplace. The DPW is not trying to build a fire. Yeah, the light poles is a pain in the neck. There's still a lot of light poles out on Takalusa. I have no idea why. And some are on some nights and sometimes they're not. It's really spastic. Yeah, I guess that was it. But thanks for those pictures. You know, Ralph and I looked and he says, what in the world is that?
You're welcome, absolutely. And our administrator will get on that as far as what you mentioned with the logs, and we'll have DPW look into it. Any other public comments? Ron, you coming up for round 3? Let's do it.
Ron, I'm at 32 Ladwood Drive. I was a little late getting my flowers this year. DJ, I tried to support you. I came and tried to buy my flats of flowers, but you didn't have the purple ones I needed, my petunias. So I had to go to De Palma, and I spoke to, I think it's Mr. De Palma, and it came up that recently we own those town owns those 100 acres, right? And
it's on the Rossi, can't be developed. Yeah, I mean, that's a jewel in his town, absolutely.
So he was saying that he recently applied to get another, it's been there in the family for 25 years, and he wants another 5 years, and the town council declined to extend his lease there for another 5 years. My question is, why did we do that? Because I know open space is a big thing, and if that is in fact the case, am I allowed to ask who voted yes and who voted no on that? Because I would think transparency-wise.
You could absolutely, and as I mentioned first, it's on our Rossi, so that property will never be developed. I'm going to let our attorney speak about it. There was no application, nor was there any vote. We're going to let the attorney explain exactly what's going on, but everything again you're seeing out in public again, it's lies.
He lied
but
to
I'm
you?
gonna, if that's what he told you, then he did. But I'll let our attorney explain how the process works. But there's no application and there's no vote.
Okay.
Sure. So this particular property the township acquired back in the year 2000. When the acquisition was completed, the property owner completed a leaseback to themselves for 25 years. So the township acquired the property subject to this 25-year leaseback. Township has respected that leaseback for the past 25 years, been a good landlord. The lease is now coming to a close. Under state law, any municipally owned property, if you want to lease it out, it needs to be bid. And the reason for that is to ensure that it's an open public process and that no one gets favoritism.
Got it.
And so that's under the local lands and buildings law. That's the common bidding requirement. And there's a further bidding requirement that applies here because it's a Green Acres preserved property. So DEP has its own restrictions requiring a competitive process. So for the township to continue to lease the property out, now that that 25-year lease is expiring, the only way it can do so legally is to bid it out.
So that's what's going to happen.
Correct.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Ron, if you could help spread the word, because this misinformation is troubling, help spread the word that this property will not be developed. The
Right.
name will not be changing. It's the Palmer Farms, but I'd appreciate that.
I mean, this wasn't something I read. I spoke to, I think he was the owner.
I'm glad you came here to get clarification.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Any other public comments? Bill, come on up.
Hi, Bill Little, 8 Coventry Square. So when you mentioned that the construction on Crawford's Corner Road was going to start soon, like the day after graduation or something, that made me remember like 6 months or so ago, we got a readout from one of our fine policemen who counted the number of vehicles coming off of or onto the parkway on that road there. And if I recall correctly, the peak was like 500 or 600 vehicles in an hour. I mean, it was a huge number. And if Crawford's Corner Road is going to be closed or restricted because of this construction, we've got a traffic nightmare just waiting to happen. Now, I live on the south part of town. I can stay away. But is there anything we can do or notify try to get in touch with the Parkway and Turnpike Authority and say, you got to do so. You can't, there's a problem.
We have Mayor Impreveduta at his time really started that up, and I was behind that, and I think most of us were as well. We have reached out to them this year. I'm sad to say we haven't had any traction. I wish we would. We will follow up again. It's just part of our due diligence, but again, that's the state and that's their control. So we're going to try to do what we can, Bill. But I agree with you that it would be nice if we could get that closed.
But just, Mayor, if I could follow up on that, I'm sure that the police department, regarding the construction during that time, I think we're all very confident that the traffic safety and the police chief is going to do whatever they can and however they can to notify the appropriate parties that this is happening.
Absolutely. DJ, thank you. Any other public comments? Eric, come on up.
Eric Silvergold, 9 Patterhorn Court. I just wanted to make kind of an observation that I thought was interesting. The Homedale Township now has a higher credit rating at AAA than the United States of America. So congratulations, team. That's quite a feat. I think there are about 564 municipalities in the state of New Jersey, probably 25 or so are AAA rated. And even within that group, there's different designations of better or worse AAAs. So I think it's an incredible statement for Bill and his management, for the management of the township to maintain that. I'm a big fan of maintaining that. Hopefully we can keep it. It says a lot about Homedale itself and the strength of our finances, but I did just want to point that out. So let's keep it higher than the United States going forward.
Eric, I appreciate those comments. Maybe if you could spread those words too. I think there's some misinformation out there about that as well, but thank you so much for that. Any other public comments? Yes, please.
Tracy Morales, 49 Chestnut Ridge Road. How are you, Ryan? I just want to say thank you for finally coming to a resolution for the creek and the pool. And Chris said he'll let me know more or less time frame.
We passed everything tonight, and we're working on it, so appreciate you guys coming out and your words.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? Pat, come on up. You trying to catch up to Ron?
Patrick Tresquita, 56 Line Road. A week ago, we had a great IEEE dedication of the horn antenna for Project Echo. It was great up there, except it rained in the middle of it, but it was still nice to see the old folks. Bob Wilson came up, and many of the the old Bell Labs old timers were up there. It was excellent. The question I had, and I keep asking this, when is Robert Wilson Park going to be open for just a couple hours a week, possibly like Wednesdays from 10 to 2 or something like that? We have a National Historic Landmark, one of the key cornerstones on the creation of the universe. When are we going to?
Hey, Pat, listen,
week
we're right there with you. I mean, the most important thing, though, is that nobody goes up there and gets hurt, right? I mean, that's priority number one. We don't want the Chiefs team up there. We are working on it. Chris, you got anything new in that front?
We are working diligently to get the due diligence done up there when it comes to the utilities, and we're trying to make it safe first. So we're really digging in now with it. So every day I hear more about it. Barbara in my office is very dedicated to it, and we will have something soon.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Any other public comments? I think we're winding down. Anybody have a